Welcome back to Children's Church. I'm so glad to have you here with me. It's October, so we've been doing our semi-spooky stories. Today is the 3-day mummy. We're talking about a man named Lazarus in the town of Bethany. There's other stories about him, but this is kind of the big one people talk about. We're talking about Jesus, and we're in the book of John. We're in Big John, not one of the 3 little Johns, though. So some Bibles will list it as St. John. I like to call it Big John because it's longer than the other 3. Ready? Ah! Miss Ashley put Art back here and tried to kill me. Anyway.
Friendship Art tried to kill you.
Yeah. We're in Big John, chapter 11. I'm going to jump around because this story is 45 verses, and I don't think we want to do that. Now a man was sick, Lazarus from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. Mary was the one who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair, and her brother was sick. So she sent a message to him, "Lord, the one you love is sick." When Jesus heard it, he said, "The sickness will not end in death, but is for the glory of God, so the Son of God may be glorified in it." Now Jesus loved Martha, her sister, and Lazarus, so when he heard he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place he was. Then after that he said, "Let us go to Judea again." "Rabbi," the disciples told him, "just now the Jews tried to stone you there, and you're going again?" "Aren't there 12 hours in a day?" Jesus answered. "If anyone walks during the day, he doesn't stumble because he sees the light of the world. If anyone walks during the night, he does stumble because the light is not in him. Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm on my way to wake him up." Then the disciples said to him, "Lord, if he has fallen asleep, he will get well." Jesus, however, was speaking about his death, but they thought he was speaking about natural sleep. So Jesus told them plainly, "Lazarus has died. I'm glad for you that I wasn't there, so you may believe, but let's go to him." Then Thomas, called Twin, said to his fellow disciples, "Let us go so we may die with him." So for context, the disciples think they're going to go die with Jesus. That stoning was a method of execution. So they're like, "Okay, Jesus, we're going to follow you. We're going to die, but we're going to follow you." That's not what's going to happen, don't worry. When Jesus arrived, he found Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. I misnamed the lesson. I called it the 3-day mummy. It's a 4-day mummy. My apologies. Many of the people had come to Mary and Martha to comfort them about their brother. And as soon as Martha heard Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary remained seated in the house. Then Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Yet even now, I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Your brother will rise again," Jesus told her. And Martha said, "I know he'll rise again in the resurrection at the last day." And he said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me, even if he dies, will live. Everyone who lives and believes in me will never die, ever. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she told him. "I believe you are the Messiah, the Son of God who comes into the world." Having said this, she went back and called her sister Mary in private, saying, "The teacher is here, and he is calling for you." As soon as she heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. And the people who were with her in the house consoling her saw that Mary quickly got up and went out. So they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to cry there. When Mary came to the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and told him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her crying, and the people who had come with her crying, he was angry in his spirit and deeply moved. "Where have you put him?" "Lord," they told him, "come and see." Jesus wept. So the people said, "See how he loved him." But some said, "Couldn't he who opened a blind man's eyes also have kept this man from dying?" I misspoke. We're reading all 45 verses. I'm sorry. You need the whole story. I'm sorry. Then Jesus, angry in himself again, came to the tomb. It was a cave and a stone was lying against it. "Remove the stone," Jesus said. Martha, the dead man's sister, told him, "Lord, he's already decaying. It's been 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Didn't I tell you if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they removed the stone. Then Jesus raised his eyes and said, "Father, I thank you that you heard me. I know you always hear me, but because of the crowd standing here, I said this so they may believe you sent me." After that, he shouted with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out!" And a dead man came out, bound hand and foot with linen strips, and his face wrapped in cloth. And Jesus said, "Loose him and let him go." Therefore, many of the Jews who came to Mary and saw what he did believed in him. So there's a lot of different reasons people tell this story. Number one, it's very cool. Someone who has been dead for 4 days coming back out of their grave when called is a big testimony to what Jesus was capable of and what he did. Testimony is a big word. It just means talking about something that happened to bring other people faith. Show them what you've seen so that they can have faith too. That's what testimony means. But another reason people talk about it is that Jesus has a lot of feelings in this story. Jesus was a human. He was just like us. He's angry in himself he didn't come sooner. He's weeping and grieving for his friend. He's angry in his spirit that he died. But he still brings him back. He doesn't get angry at God and kick up his feet and stomp his feet. No, he asks God. He asks God out loud so everyone can hear him, so that they will know who Jesus is, so they will have their own testimony to tell other people. And the people who came with him grieving believed in who he was after what happened. And Jesus got his friend back. Mary and Martha got their brother back. And both of those things are very important. There's a 2-word verse in here. It's the shortest verse in the Bible. It's simply the words, Jesus wept. Jesus was a person like all of us, but God's son was weeping because his friend was dead. And then other people were weeping because he came back. And isn't that a wonderful, wonderful testimony? I'll see you guys next week for another semi-spooky story. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you then.